Fenway Park last night was the site of one of the best games of the season for the Chicago White Sox, and we'll see what they do as an encore in game number 2 from the venerable Fenway. The White Sox and Red Sox in the middle game of 3. Thanks for joining us once again. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you. A lot of good signs last night and another one today. Carlos Rodon in his 2018 debut.
We've been waiting for him for some time. He's entirely healthy now, and he showed it in his rehab stint. So hopefully today that slider is there, because when it is, he's awfully tough. That's a back foot slider, and he mystifies Javier Baez. Doesn't really matter who's hitting as long as he's right-handed. This is going to be a wipeout pitch. He also has one that he gets over the plate consistently, and hopefully with a fastball there around 96, 97, he's going to be able today to throw that slider and throw it where he wants to. And as you can see there, the rehab starts. He was very good. See, the 1, 2 2/3 innings, he was hitting the head with a line drive, came out of the game for precautionary reasons, but other than that, the control has been very good.
Well, last night in that opening game, we told you there were some very big positives for the White Sox, and one of those was the create-your-own-run department.
You're not going to be able to win a ball game unless you can execute, and last night that's exactly what happened. Kevin Smith came up, and fortunately, this ball took a high hop into the seats, meaning he was at second base. That set the stage for Yoan Moncada as he guided this ball to the right side, moving him to third, and that paid dividends because it brought the infield in at all 4 positions. This line drive by Trace Thompson over the head of Bogarts. If he's playing back, that's a line drive into perhaps a double play, as it was. Chris Sale surrenders the only run, and Dylan Covey made it hold up last night. So it was a well-executed game, and the Sox looked really good. Our Sox.
After Covey left, the bullpen was once again outstanding.
Bullpen has been very good lately, with the exception of one Nate Jones bobble in Minnesota. Other than that, last night it was nearly perfect. Jace Fry came on, and he threw the ball very well. And then after him, Nate Jones was throwing at 1 billion miles an hour. Well, maybe just 1 million miles an hour, but he's throwing it very well. And Soria came on and nailed it down. So not a lot of drama in the 9th inning as far as our Sox were concerned, as Soria did a great job. And all things considered, it was indeed one of the best games of the year.
All positives right now, except your StatCast is broken, I think. 1,000 miles an hour?
Oh, no. Maybe 1 million miles an hour.
We'll fix it before we get going. Sox and Sox. Carlos Rodon in his premiere in 2018. He's on the hill after the Sox swing at first. Game 2 coming up.
Chicago is brought to you in part by Toyota. Tested, trusted, Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all. By Lexus, who encourages you to experience amazing. And by Miller Lite, the original light beer. Miller Lite, hold true.
Traffic going quickly here in Boston. Game number 2, White Sox and Red Sox, as we show you the White Sox lineup, brought to you by the Webb Auto Group for the best lineup of Chevys, Fords, Mitsubishis, Genesis, and Hyundais at the best price. Go to webcars.com. Same lineup as yesterday. Now for the defense. Here's Steve.
Defensive setup for the Red Sox, presented by UI Health. It's very similar to yesterday. A couple of different changes. Benintendi, Bradley, and Swihart with Devers, Bogarts, Nunez, and Travis. Vasquez behind the plate, and our Lexus Experience amazing starting pitcher is David Price, who's having a good year. There you look at the numbers. 13th start. He's 6-4. His ERA just over 4. And you look at the rest of the numbers. Left-handers haven't done much with him. That's the hard slider he throws. And he's got a good change. So, we're ready to play baseball. We'll tell you about the umpires in a bit. I'm ready to turn it over to the loquacious Jason Benetti.
Steve, thank you. David Price first pitch. Tim Anderson hunting, and we are off and rolling from Fenway Park. They had the 10 after start yesterday. This is an 0-5 start today, and another lovely day for baseball in Boston. Tim at the top as normal against a left-handed pitcher, and he starts it off with a base hit.
We'll take a look at the umpires for the game today. Shane Leibensbarger has the plate. James Hoy is at first. Quinn Wolcott is at second. And Jeff Kellogg has third base. He happens to be the crew chief. So a good start for our Sox this afternoon. They try to get to David Price, who will slow it down considerably when he's in a jam.
He has not been in that many jams in recent days. The Red Sox have won 5 straight of his starts. Tim Anderson now is 6 out of 11 in the leadoff spot in his first at bat this year. How about that?
It's pretty good. He took one through the left side to lead it off. Vasquez, the catcher, throws very well, so you're not going to steal too much against him unless you get a read off David Price.
Yeah, if there was a night to steal in this series, it probably was last night with Sandy Leon behind the plate. And not a whole lot of base runners to speak of. A combined 9 hits for the White Sox and Red Sox in yesterday's game.
And Sale can be a little deceptive. However, Sandy Leon picked Trace Thompson off second base in the 7th inning.
Very close. Didn't get it. 1-2 on Rondon, who's 11 for 43 in his short White Sox tenure so far.
David Price usually does not want to throw strikes inside. He wants to throw a show me pitch inside and then go and get you away.
That is not his A move to first.
I don't think he has a particularly good move. But again, when you've got a good throwing catcher, it doesn't matter all that much. And he does have a compact delivery. Gets rid of the ball fairly quickly.
Ball and 2 strikes from Price. Downstairs, 2-2.
The 2 pitches he tried to throw inside for strikes, and both pitches he missed. When he does throw it inside for a strike, opponent's hitting just 109 against him. So when he gets it in there, he's very good. He just doesn't get it in there all that often.
His 11th year in the majors, David Price, and he's off the plate. 3-2 on Rondon as the White Sox try to build on a 1-0 win from last night. One of the overall best games they've played all year.
I thought every aspect of the game was good. It was well executed. And now we'll see if Ricky Renteria decides that he wants to send Tim Anderson. The idea that you're going to stay out of the double play. Price, being left-handed, going inside a lot, is going to get a lot of ground balls to the left side.
Tim goes, and this is in the air toward the right field corner and drifting. Still 3-2 on Rondon, who was 1 for 4 in the game yesterday, and that one was the bunt single that clung to the line.
Last night it was Holt in right field, and today a converted catcher, Blake Swihart, has got right field. A very difficult right field to play, especially in an afternoon game.
Tim was leaning toward the bag. It doesn't matter. Ball 4, 2 on, nobody out for the White Sox here in the first. Here's Jose Abreu, who walked in the first inning last night. He was 0 for 3, which broke a 7-game hit streak. He has always hit the ball very well at Fenway Park in his career. Price gets strike 1.
Well, he's always had some problems with David Price.
Two for 18 in his career. Abreu hits it well to left field. Benintendi back at the warning track, and all he can do is watch Bradley play it off the wall. Anderson scores. Rondon to third. Abreu pounds another double, and it's 1-0.
Good way to start against a very tough left-hander in David Price. That's probably a home run in a lot of places, but not here with the high wall. It does clang off the green monster, and Price is in trouble.
Double number 24 for Jose Abreu scores Anderson. Rondon at third and Davidson up in an already positive first inning for the White Sox. Close pitch. Vasquez got him to strike.
Alex Cora's got him back in the middle of the infield. They're going to concede the run to stay out of the big inning. Travis is way off the line at first base and just about even with the bag. So on a ball hit to him, he's probably going to come home with it.
Matt couldn't pull the trigger. 0-2. We've got a chance here, even with 2 productive outs, to have a 3-0 lead on David Price.
Matt looking for some contact. Doesn't have to do too much. Just pretty much tap it in the infield.
Called strike 3 twice at the low portion of the zone, and corner shots from David Price.
That was a perfect pitch. Whether it's 0-2 or any other pitch, he threw it right there.
One down, Kevin Smith. That's 5 for 12 so far since coming up from AAA Charlotte for Kevin Smith. And ball 1. So this road trip so far is 3-2 for the White Sox after winning 2 of 3 against the National League's best team at the time, the Milwaukee Brewers.
Infield still back. Kevin needs some contact. For the former catcher in right field, Swihart looks to have a pretty good arm.
Going back toward us. Ball and a strike on Kevin, who had the double that started the only run scoring rally of last night. We showed it to you in the open. He looped it down the line. It got a nice bounce into the crowd. Somebody got a souvenir, and the Sox eventually got a run. One and 2.
That's a Price changeup, and it's a good one. He's throwing more of those these days, and in a good spot. Pitchers don't generally go after strikeouts, but it would be a good thing to do for David Price here. As you look at Alex Cora, first-year skipper of the Red Sox, he fell into a wonderful situation with a very good baseball team.
On the ground, second base. It gets a run home. Kevin Smith, the productive out. Rondon scores. Abreu to third. It's 2-0 in the first.
Some nice hitting as he took one inside out with the infield back. You get the first three guys on, including a double, and you got to come away with at least 2 runs. And this pitch on the inner third and up, Price was trying to throw it by him upstairs, didn't get it up quite high enough. So good situational hitting on the part of Kevin Smith, who, since he's come up, has been a revelation both behind the plate and with the bat.
Yeah, he's provided not only a jolt but timely jolts for the Sox.
Yeah, very, very strong. And also, it's hard to throw the ball by him in the dirt. He's smothered everything.
Now Yoan Moncada, who takes a strike. His first look at David Price. Mentioned Kevin Smith with that double last night. Moncada was the guy that got him to third. Eventually to come home on the Trace Thompson RBI hit, and that's our topic of conversation later on in the game with Ricky Renteria and what he thought of that at bat and Yoan Moncada's progress. We'll play that for you later on. Oh, 2. Trying to stuff it on the inside and missed. 1-2. Vanderbilt educated left-hander David Price, former Cy Young winner back in 2012. That's strike 3 on the inside corner or thereabouts. Price with 2 strikeouts. The Sox with 2 runs. The visitors up. Carlos Rodon after this. The big change today is that JD Martinez is back in after a back injury kept him out yesterday. Sam Travis gets a start. Christian Vasquez as well. Those are the changes for this afternoon.
Defensive setup for our Sox. Presented by UI Health and put out there by Ricky Renteria. It's Charlie, Trace, and Daniel in the outfield. Jose, Tim, Yoan, and Jose in the infield. Kevin Smith gets a nod behind the plate, and our Lexus experienced amazing starting pitcher is Carlos Rodon. That's what he did last year. Season ended with a surgery to his shoulder. His rehab starts were very good, and now we'll see if he can get that slider over the plate.
Last time we saw him on a major league mound was September 2nd of last year. He went 4 innings, gave up 2 hits and 1 earned run against Tampa Bay, and you know he is jazzed to get back out there after a long rehab process and an injury-riddled last couple of seasons.
He didn't have any control issues in his rehab start, but you realize that he's got a lot of adrenaline here today in his first game back, and you worry about the control. The stuff will be there. We'll see if the control is there.
You may remember his first start. Well, I know you remember, but them out in TV land. His first start last year, June 28th against the Yankees. He went 5 innings, gave up 3 unearned runs, but he walked 6. And he said after the game the adrenaline was kind of coursing through him early on, as you would imagine it would for just about anybody.
Yeah, I don't doubt that that's going to be one of the battles here today, along with the Red Sox. This is a strong hitting ball club. You cannot afford free passes.
Maybe the good news for Carlos is that this year Alex Cora has the Red Sox swinging more than they did last year. He wants them to not miss pitches in the zone and let them go by when they're available.
I can't blame him. Sometimes the first or second pitch in the sequence is going to be the best pitch you get.
Outside ball 4, leadoff walk for Benintendi on Carlos Rodon. We mentioned the injury situation involving him. This year was halfway lost. July 2016, sprained wrist, the biceps issue in March of 2017, and then the shoulder surgery after the inflammation last September. But Ricky Renteria said that even in spring training, he saw a Carlos Rodon that felt better than ever, and that's the hope for Don Cooper and Renteria and Carlos as his season begins today. Xander Bogaerts in the 2 spot. Martinez to follow. To shortstop, Anderson can't handle it, and the Red Sox have 2 on with nobody out in the first inning for the 2nd straight day.
That's got to go E6. You would assume that Tim tried to ease into backhand, thinking 2 before he thought 1. So we'll take a look again. He needs to get in front of that ball by playing it off to the side. When the carom does come, you got no chance, and that's exactly what happened. So you would assume that it would be E6, and that's error number 11 for Tim.
The light is on. And so JD Martinez, the home run leader in Major League Baseball, is the opponent for Rodon. Strike 1.
We were told yesterday that if the game was against the Yankees, that JD could have probably played. I talked with Dave Dombrowski before the game today, and he said that it was just strictly precautionary, and that Alex Cora was looking for a day off anyway, and yesterday seemed to be a good day for it.
Well, it turned out for the White Sox that that was a great thing, because Martinez would have come up with 2 on, nobody out in the first inning. And you never know how that might have changed the game.
No, it was a great sinker in that situation to Bogaerts that started the comeback in the first inning for Dylan Covey. Strikeout and then a double play ground ball off the bat of Moreland, and it was out of the first.
Just inside, 2-1.
What we haven't seen yet is the slider, as Carlos is battling his control.
25 years old, former first-round pick out of North Carolina State. Two and one. Martinez on the ground. Anderson, Moncada, and it's wide. Benintendi scores. The toss to second base was not perfect, and Moncada, as he tried to spin it to Abreu, misfired.
Well, he barehanded the throw. The throw was a little wide of the bag, and Tim did not give him a good toss to work with. Moncada trying to barehand and throw in the same motion. So it should be out of the inning. It's not. And unfortunately, Jose can't get to it at first. That's going to be E4 after the force out. So as well played as the game was last night, this is not starting off all that good.
Eduardo Nunez. Well, if you're Carlos Rodon, you walk the first guy, you don't expect 2 straight errors. However, you do have to smile a little bit if you're Carlos and say, at least I'm getting the ground balls that I want.
And both of them in the neighborhood of Tim Anderson.
Up the middle, into center. Martinez to second. First and second, 1 out for Sam Travis.
Carlos thought about trying to flag that ball down with his pitching hand and then thought better of it. Travis usually has great springs. This spring, no exception. He's one of the leaders normally in the Grapefruit League out of Florida, and then comes back north and doesn't hit the ball very well, but getting a start here today.
Local product from Chicago, Providence Catholic. He's 20 for 76 last year, Travis was, in short time in his 23-year-old season. Mitch Moreland out of the lineup today. Brock Holt as well, as you were talking about. And Sandy Leon, the switch hitting catcher, on the bench. .92 upstairs, 1-2.
Chase that one out of the zone, and he's ahead in the count.
Left-hander Rafael Devers on deck. 1-2. He gets a swing and a miss, and Rodon with his first strikeout of 2018 on a fastball.
A couple of pitches that were out of the zone up, and Travis, no chance on the high fastball. This one a little faster than the first, and he's tardy on the swing. You get out of this one with 1 run, and it will be a job well done.
Two out for Devers. And a tapper foul.
Devers, a product of the Red Sox organization, hit .284 last year. It was a nice year for him. He's not really a home run hitter, but in this ballpark, he is a danger to hit the ball out in left and left center field.
Oh, 1. Check swing, ball low and out. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, the Red Sox don't look terribly comfortable up there against Rodon's stuff here in the first inning, at least to my eyes.
No, his stuff is really good. That's a question of harnessing the command and harnessing his emotions. And to his credit, he's still making pretty decent pitches, despite the fact that he should be sitting on the bench right now.
Bounces away. Martinez to third, Nunez to second. That is a wild pitch, as you might expect. 20 pitches now for Carlos Rodon. In his last start in Charlotte, he got up 6 times to throw. He threw 5 innings and then tossed a little bit more in the bullpen. So we'll watch the pitch count and we'll watch the inning end. The Red Sox do get 1 on a couple of errors and 1 hit. 2-1 White Sox after 1.
in today's game.
And we'd like to welcome all our viewers watching and streaming the game in Central Illinois on Xfinity. And we'd like to welcome all the White Sox fans who are here in attendance for a great weekend at Fenway Park as well. Trace Thompson. Family trophy case a little bit heavier as of today with Clay's victory for the Golden State Warriors. By the way, basketball is already the talk of this town. Talk radio in Boston is about 80% do you want LeBron right now. The Red Sox are 43-21. And is LeBron coming?
Well, the great part about it is they took literally, 8 hours before they shifted into basketball after the playoffs?
Well, anything to get off the discussion of trading Gronk.
It's a good horse, by the way.
Indeed. 0-2 on Trace Thompson. And Price gets him to swing through. Strike 3. Change up for the third strikeout for Price as we tell you what's coming up on our telecast of White Sox baseball today. We'll talk to Ricky Renteria, as we mentioned, about Yohan Moncada's ground out, which led to the only run of yesterday's game. Lorenzo Cain sure plays a mean pin ball. And Zach Collins, his demise in the first 3 weeks of the minor league season was greatly exaggerated. There were stories out saying, can Zach Collins hit? Will he hit? When will he hit? What's going on? And the answer is now, and nothing's going on. Thank you for asking.
We did read a whole lot about the bust that was a first-round pick, that is Zach Collins. All he had to do was harken back to his days at Miami, take a look at some video, get that stroke back again, get the stance, the hand position, and since he's done that, he's been red hot.
We'll show you how red hot coming up later. Daniel Polka takes a strike. We're talking about Polka out in right field and how difficult this park is to play, especially for a relative newcomer outfielder. Went up to Daniel in the game and said, hey, not much came your way. He said, I got one ball. I said, are you mad about that? And he said, well, look, I put in all of this work on the outfield. I'd like to at least get a chance.
Well, he's probably going to get it today. If not today, tomorrow, and if not tomorrow, maybe next year. But all that work will not go for naught.
Thank you for all those possibilities.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen here. That's why baseball is a great game.
2-1. But think about it yesterday. That inning where the Sox scored the only run of the game, Kevin Smith gets a ball blooped down the line that ends up in the stands, so you get an extra base.
Yes. Then
Moncada moves him over. Wouldn't have had the chance to do that. Would have been a double play if that bounce didn't happen. And then if Moncada doesn't do what he does, the infield's not in. As Polka takes a one-out walk, and then you end up with the lone run of the game, simply because of one small thing here and there.
And Dylan Covey made it hold up along with his bullpen mates, who did just great in last night's game. Chris Sale goes down to defeat. And it was a very snappy ball game. This will not be quite as snappy.
No, the SS Snappy has left the port after the first inning of 12 batters and 3 runs. Charlie Tilson takes a called strike.
Actually, Price has made a concerted effort to be a little quicker this year, and he's still not quick, but he is quicker than the last few years.
Nunez at second with the tag, and that still doesn't get him a double play.
Well, he got spun around with the tag, and I think he underestimated the strength of Daniel Polka, because all you got to do is tag him on the leg and not do a 360 spin, because the pirouette did not allow the double play to be made. Looked like it's going to be fairly easy, but right here you can't do the reverse pivot and get anybody who can run, and Charlie Tilson can run. I'm not sure where that came from, but that's usually a guy that's used to playing third base and not so much at second.
That was a 7-point turn.
Yeah, that allows our Sox to get an extra at bat or so.
Tim Anderson gets shaken down by Price, and it's called ball 1.
Tim has been swinging it pretty well of late, and this becomes a good park for him to hit. Only 310 down the line in left field.
In the air toward left. Benintendi is underneath. No harm done after the walk by Price. 1.5 complete. 2-1 White Sox.
Trading determination and perseverance. Nominate someone you know at NBCSports.com/fairplay.
They used to call you Stevie Fairplay.
Perseverance. That was my middle name. P. S-P-S.
Perseverance was your middle name.
Sure, for a while. Then I cast it aside.
Then there was one wasp in the booth, and you fled.
Well, I'm allergic to them. I didn't want to have what you have when you have shellfish. That blowfish look.
In the air right field, Daniel Palka is going to get his wish, and he's underneath.
Told you,
Number 1.
just a matter of time until the ball finds you, and that time he coasted over and made the play.
There's an interesting story a couple of days ago on The Athletic, written by Eno Saris, about the next generation of shifting. And if you have a left fielder and a right fielder with substantially disparate talent levels, right? Not saying that that exists right now, but if you have that, and you have, say, a dead pull hitter, can you imagine a day when the left fielder and right fielder switch places per batter?
I can imagine that in the not too distant future, actually.
With regularity?
With a clarity. And regularity and other arities you can have. Yeah, I can see that, especially in key situations.
What do you do to the box score in that case?
Just keep going R, L, R, L, R, L.
You think it's coming, though?
I do.
Yeah,
I do. Because they're shifting more and more. We've seen that. And we've also seen, I mean, there are some teams that when they shift as a dead pull hitter, especially a left-hand hitter, they shift the shortstop into the play on second base.
Palka parks it for out number 2.
See, just a matter of time, pal.
Oh yeah, now the spigot's open and the waterfall started.
No, but we've seen some teams just shift player over. In other words, The shortstop moves to the first base side of second. The third baseman moves to straightaway shortstop, which doesn't make any sense to me because the shortstop has the greatest range on the field. You might as well play him at his natural position. That way you only have one player playing out of position. If you shift the shortstop over to the first base side of second and shift the third baseman, you've got two players playing out of position. That doesn't make a great deal of sense, and yet many teams shift that way. Carlos fell off the mound a bit. Could very well be that either his heel caught or he stepped into that landing area that at this point early in the game hasn't been dug out near as much. So even though there's two left-handers on the mound, Price has a little bit of a longer stride than Carlos has.
Belted to center field. Trace Thompson stops at the wall. It is gone. Jackie Bradley Jr. goes deep and ties the game.
They've taken away Bradley's leg kick. And in doing so, this is a guy who hit 26 home runs in 2016. Last year he had 17 of them, and our forward home run replay shows not the same type of leg kick. It's in the neighborhood, it's not quite as high, and he drills this ball to straightaway center field. Third home run, 13th driven in. And the lead did not last long.
Ball and a strike on Andrew Benintendi, who scored the lone run for the Red Sox in the first. Yeah, that was a fastball at 92 at the knees. That resulted in the home run for Jackie Bradley Jr.
What's going to be interesting is Carlos is going to get more velocity as his arm gets stronger. It's not near as strong right now as it will be. And although he's had a fastball at 94 and he's had a couple of them at 94, this is a guy who could throw it consistently 96, 97. We will see that as the arm builds up. Don Cooper realizes he's got a pitcher that's gone through a spring training a whole lot later than most of the guys have, and so it's going to take a while for him to get back, get the feel of it. Right now he's going to be battling his control. I'll be interested to see how he throws in the third and fourth start to see if there's any type of dead arm period, which usually pitchers have in spring training after the first 3 or 4 starts.
Second base Moncada on the grass. Lines it up for round number 3. 2-out home run, Jackie Bradley Jr. We're deadlocked at 2. Modelo Especial, perfect to enjoy while watching the White Sox. While you're there, enter for a chance to win tickets to a White Sox game. No purchase necessary. Ends June 25th. Visit crownimportscontest.com for rules. Modelo, imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois. David Price will face Jose Rondon, Jose Abreu, and the honorary Jose, Matt Davidson. 2, 3, and 4 in the order. Foul ball, not far below Farmio and DJ to our right. Rondon playing third for the second straight night. Yomer Sanchez getting a second straight day off, and that's not an injury concern. It's simply that Yomer basically throws himself at every game, and Ricky Renteria was looking for a place where he could give him a few days. Rondon pops out to Vasquez.
Let's take a look at the high-speed action powered by Xfinity. Jose Abreu in the first inning. He comes up and takes it high off the wall, driving in his 37th run of the year. Nice play on the carom. Only 1 run scored. Rondon was later to score, but that set up the first inning.
Abreu saw 2 pitches from David Price. It was cutter, and the second one resulted in double number 24 for Jose Abreu, who has become just a doubles dispenser.
If you can lay off that inside fastball, and Price counts on the fact that you're going to swing at some pitches inside off the plate, but if you can do that, you're in pretty good shape.
May 8th till now, Jose Abreu has 6 more doubles than anybody else in Major League Baseball. That includes today. 1-1 on Abreu. Rocketed foul right side, 1-2.
That wasn't too close to take. It was an off-speed pitch, probably higher than Price would have liked it. And that veteran fan certainly likes it as a souvenir. Beautiful day at the ballpark, but the shadows will soon creep across home plate and making the visibility difficult.
Worst shadows you ever saw at a ballpark? Or best for you?
Well, you can't beat good shadows. Good question.
Shadow Stevens?
I think it all depends on the day. And our ballpark is very much a pitcher's ballpark when the shadows creep across home plate.
Matt Davidson on deck. Just a couple games deep into his return from the disabled list. Says his back feels great.
But that stroke is not yet what it will be, and he was swinging it well before the back started bothering him.
Third base, Devers with the cross diamond peg to just nip Abreu, who always runs it out. 2 down.
Outfield Devers' defense was not good, and Alex Cora very much aware of infield play because he was a middle infielder his entire career. They've decided that he's to play a bit deeper, giving him a little more time for the ball to get to him. The arm was always pretty good, and now the hands are getting there. And there is a look at Alex. He's going to make a terrific manager. He knows the game. He's able to break it down. He's good on television, as well as just a guy who understood the game seemingly from the time he played it. Of course, the Cora family pretty good at this game of baseball with Joey and Alex.
Alex has grown as a baseball man. His first ever game in a major league booth was with me.
Oh, you didn't kill him?
No.
That's why he realized that manager was good?
It's true. It's funny the terminology you used, that I didn't kill him, because on the other side, I'll tell you what nearly happened that day. 2-2 after 2.5.
find out what Ronaldo Lopez is like off the mound and the remarkable journey to recovery for Danny Farquhar. White Sox All Access Wednesday at 11 on NBC Sports Chicago.
Bogarts, Martinez, and Nunez coming up for Alex Cora's Red Sox. And when we went to break, we were talking about Alex's first game in a Major League Baseball broadcast booth.
Yes.
I happened to be there as the play-by-play announcer du jour. And our producer that day decided that it would be fun to have the Oriole bird come up to visit us and give Alex a little certificate that said it was his first Major League game in the booth. He'd done Baseball Tonight for years, but had not been a game analyst. That ball ends up in center field for Xander Bogaerts, a leadoff single. So the Oriole bird comes into the booth and brings a certificate for Alex and also brings some food for us, right? And so Alex starts picking at the food, and then I get handed the food, and I pick it up, and I start thinking, you know, maybe I should. What are these? I asked the stage manager, and the answer was crab fries.
Well, that'd have been
and
good.
being as somebody with a shellfish allergy, the Oriole bird nearly tried to kill me.
But didn't try to kill Alex.
No.
Oh.
Loved Alex. Tried to get rid of his partner.
So did you eat them?
I'm still here, aren't I? Game never finished either. It was Red Sox Orioles. So Alex's first game in the booth was a Boston game, and now he's managing the team.
How ironic.
Yeah, I actually don't think it's ironic in any way. It's like 10,000 spoons when all you need is a knife.
He was lucky he didn't do the Pottstown Firebirds in that first game.
I think he's a better manager than that. Carlos Rodon has given up 3 hits so far through 2+, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. And Bogarts at first, Martinez the batter.
Before the game, when J.D. Martinez was taking batting practice, he had their videographer come down, and as he's done every batting practice, he tapes every one of his swings, each and every one of his swings. And between rounds, he goes in and takes a look at each and every one of his swings. That's just about every home game here. So he is taking the hitting very seriously. He's also told Alex Cora that he can play any position in the outfield, and don't hesitate to move him. He plays left field normally, but he told Alex, you want to play me in right, even though he knows it's a difficult right field. He says, I play it really well. So that will remain to be seen. However, he can swing the bat really well.
Yeah, those numbers speak for themselves. In terms of the offense, at least, he is the DH today. And he is down on strikes. That has been a theme for Carlos Rodon in this building. Last time he pitched here at Fenway Park, he was outstanding. 7 2/3, 11 strikeouts, August 4th of last year. A lot of the same guys in the lineup: Benintendi, Nunez, Devers, Bogarts, Vasquez, and Bradley. 6 of the 9 are returnees from that lineup. We've never really had that year with the full effect of Carlos Rodon yet.
No, he hasn't been able to stay healthy, but that happens to a lot of guys early in their careers because it's tough to adjust to a major league pitching schedule. I mean, look at Ohtani coming over from Japan, and now he's on the shelf. They don't know if he's going to need Tommy John surgery or not, and they were only pitching him once a week. So he's still a very young pitcher, and he can hit also, but if he's going to do both, it's going to be really difficult for him. I think the severity of both the curveball and the fact that he throws a splitter, and that would be the one suggestion I'd have for any young pitchers listening in today, is abandon the splitter. It's really difficult on the arm.
Rodon back-to-back strikeouts, 2 gone in the 3rd.
We'll take a look at good fastball inside off the plate, and Nunez just overmatched with this. See, Kevin Smith wants it inside, not necessarily that far inside, but he wants it up, and he throws it right by him. No chance to get around on that. But Again, you don't need the splitter. I think it's really tough. And for every one of those guys that survives throwing the splitter in the major leagues, 10, 15, 20 guys have elbow difficulties with it.
Well, and the proliferation of the splitter probably just drops inherently with Ohtani getting hurt. If that's a long-term injury, then guys, young pitchers especially, are going to say, well, I don't want to do that. They see him at first. We were talking to Dylan Cease about that very thing. He saw Ohtani. He said, I want a splitter. And the Sox said, no, you don't. Don't do that.
Well,
So
there's a couple different things. First of all, Ohtani's curveball was magnificent, and it was hard, and it was late breaking, and watching him in spring training consistently, it was just a great pitch. But when you throw both, they both have a lot of strain on the elbow, and I don't think you can throw both and have your elbow hold up. So hopefully, for baseball and for the young man, he doesn't need Tommy John surgery, but it's a grade 2 sprain. They talk about the fact that a grade 1 sprain is the thing that sends you to have the surgery. So you see, Steven Strasburg has had nothing but injuries. He's going to take a look at, they're going to do an MRI on that. Tanaka, who's got some hamstring tightness, he throws a splitter, but that has nothing to do with it. And Buehler, also on the shelf. A lot of good young pitchers coming up injured.
Tanaka was running the bases when he got hurt. Don't let your stars run the bases.
Well, that's a ringing endorsement for both leagues using the designated hitter. Number one, the stars of the game will stay around longer if they do, and baseball will become more uniform, but there's a lot of National League teams that don't want to hear anything about that.
Why, though?
I have no idea. I mean, you'd have to ask the National League teams, but I think...
Let's get him on the phone.
I think uniformity would be a good thing, and also some of the stars of the game that are forced out of the game early or shuttled to the American League because of the DH would be able to play in the National League. And also from a manager and a general manager standpoint, it's easier to assemble and run a baseball team with the designated hitter.
Rodon, 3 straight strikeouts. He's got 4 in the game, and it's a 2-2 tie after 3. Ricky, what did you think of Yohan Moncada's at-bat in the inning when you scored the run?
A great at-bat. That was one of the things that he's been able to improve upon. I think he was trying to use the middle of the diamond, other side, to try to get the guy over. You know, when we talk to these guys about that situation, we want them to try to drive the guy in using the proper side of the field. At bare minimum, you get him over, and he did. It was a great at-bat, something that he's continued to improve upon. You know, we had situations last year where probably wasn't going to happen, and yesterday, with a very good pitcher, was able to manage the barrel and do what he needed to do to get him over in scoring position, over in third base.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
That's Ricky Renteria on Yohan Moncada's at bat. Late in the game yesterday, as Kevin Smith puts one on the ground and through a base hit. Kevin's balls in play have eyes so far since coming back from AAA.
He drove home a run with the first at bat. That was his second of the year, and this time, despite the fact that he's usually been hitting the ball to right and right center field, he took this through the left side. So he's had very good at bats and a promising way to start the fourth inning from Moncada, who's fallen victim, especially from the right side, to straight changes.
Smith at first, nobody out. Moncada in the first at bat saw 4 pitches. 2 were two-seam fastballs. 1 was a cutter and 1 changeup. That was for strike 2 in the sequence. How much do you think pitchers still reserve some of what they throw for later in games nowadays?
There's a few of the guys that intend on going deep in the game, but to younger pitchers especially, they pretty much say go as hard as you can, as long as you can, except for Ronaldo Lopez, who never wants to leave the ball game under any circumstances and seems to maintain his velocity throughout the performance. Most of the guys don't do it because it's not the culture these days.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. You would think that, especially the pitchers who have good numbers the third time through. Ronaldo has some of the best numbers in baseball the third time through the order. But some guys do fall victim to the third time through. And with those numbers, you would understand why they wouldn't go deep into games. But it's just the way most teams plan it. And consequently, they keep 1 more reliever than they used to keep. It used to be short pitching staffs, 11, sometimes 10, now 13.
He went fastball there on 1 and 2.
50 pitches to this point as we are 1 batter deep into the fourth inning. You would think that a changeup would be forthcoming. We'll look in at Vasquez. He's taking a look at the hands of Moncada. That's a fastball, and Price accepts it.
1 and 2. Way high, throw to first. Kevin is back. Might not have been if the ball was a little bit lower.
Tough throw to make with a pitch in that area because he had to come up quickly and didn't have a chance to set. If you're going to go to first and you're thinking about it ahead of time, especially if it's a signal, you really want a chest-high fastball out of the strike zone away. That was well too high.
2 and 2. On the ground, Bogarts, Nunez, turn. They did get him.
Ground ball to the left side and a solid toss across, and Nunez with a strong arm because he is a third baseman by trade, able to get the throw, and they turn 2.
Mike Kashersky in the video bunker for the White Sox. Unlikely to make the phone call to challenge that. That was an out.
Not that time.
Got a little tour of the video bunker today, by the way. And there's some great toys down there for the video replay crew. Third base side, fair ball. Devers across the way. And that'll do it. 3 outs with 2 pitches for David Price after the single. wins a prize from the road. Number of innings Dylan Covey pitched last night, plus the jersey number of the player who drove in the winning run. Can you beat Ashley 22 Sanders? If you win today, you win a reenactment of the Boston Tea Party live at your home.
That's a good prize. I would say bear down on this one.
10 people or so come over to your house and toss things into your swimming pool in the backyard. That's a base hit for Rafael Devers, ambushing Rodon in the fourth. So here is Vasquez, who is a double play possibility.
This is his 44th game played of the year. He's only been to bat 152 times, and he's grounded into 4 double plays.
How are you going to get it? What's your sequence here?
Well, to start with, I like a good fastball away to set up the at-bat.
How about a fastball in?
It's good if you hit it, not so good if you miss. Now you're behind in the count.
Devers at first, nobody out. Tie game in the fourth. Carlos Rodon's 2018 debut. There goes a runner, hard hit past third. Charlie picks it up as Devers scoots into third base. Runners at the corners, nobody out.
So Alex Cora decided to break the hit and run out of the bag. Vasquez hit that ball hard. It's a low fastball. It was on the inner portion of the plate. You see Devers running and off the glove of Rondon. So Carlos in a jam.
Blake Swihart. And now at this point, you take the double play and concede the lead for the moment, right?
You would, and the boys are halfway in the middle infield.
Rodon pumps in a strike.
That was a straight change on the first pitch. So I heard a former #1 draft pick, 26th overall. That was in June of 2011. He was drafted as a catcher, and now he's kind of a utility player for them.
Right field, DH, catcher. Not much catcher, but a little bit, at least recently.
He always had pretty good numbers. A couple of years at Portland at 335. Then again at Portland in 2017 at 377. That was in a brief outing, and then Pawtucket.
Oh, 2 and the dirt.
He's had a couple of shots at the Red Sox. 15, 16, 17. Probably his most prolonged shot was 288 at bats, 274 batting average in 2015.
Here's where the sacrifice fly numbers suggest you have to hit it to get a run home. At ball number 2. Jackie Bradley Jr., who homered in the second, is next. Two balls, 2 strikes. Went with a fastball at 94, middle in. Carlos Rodon so far today has thrown 9 changeups and just 7 sliders.
I think he's not very sure of the feeling of that slider just yet, and it's going to take a while. You need a lot of arm strength to throw a lot of those sliders, and he just doesn't have it.
Up high at 97, 3-2.
Showed you that time that the life of the fastball was good, if not the location.
That was the hardest he's thrown a pitch today. And he follows it up at 86.
Vasquez going on the play is Alex Cora is a very aggressive manager. He was an aggressive player, and he's carried it over into the dugout.
So 60 pitches right now for Carlos Rodon, and you wouldn't imagine he'd go much more over 90 today if he even gets there.
I'm thinking 80, depending on how the next few go. See how much duress he's going to be under with all these pitches coming up.
On 3-2. That is called strike 3 in the zone. Swihart didn't like it, but that had all of the plate.
That was a good pitch. And Swihart, a former catcher himself, should have recognized that that was there, lower part of the zone, and well caught. You see Kevin Smith, the glove doesn't go down when he catches it. He actually brings it back up. A lot of catchers take that low pitch and take it out of the zone. He didn't do it, bought the strike. And Swihart most unhappy. Now, a ground ball out of getting out of the inning.
Jackie Bradley Jr. Foul ball for strike 1. Here's what he did last time. At some point. What he did last time was a home run. I was just teasing me saying it.
He hit it a long way also. Center field fence onto the hitting background.
Here's what he did last time. Just as you said.
105.7 miles per hour on the exit velocity and a line drive at 25-degree launch angle. He's in an 0-2 hole, and this is a good time for Carlos to break out that hard-breaking slider.
Oh, 2. Check swing.
He got him.
And he did. Strike 3.
There is that hard-breaking slider, and Bradley, who committed, could not check it up. So quickly, 2 strikeouts. We'll take another look. That's one of his better sliders. That one late move. And Bradley did indeed go too far.
All things considered, strong start so far for Carlos Rodon.
I think he's got to be happy with the progress regardless of the resolution of this. However, he would be a very happy man if he can wend his way by Benintendi, who's been one of their hottest hitters.
The one thing here is Benintendi's already seen a lot of pitches of what Rodon can throw you. He saw 11 in his first 2 trips to the plate, couple of full counts.
He's going to throw him fastballs. That's a good place to keep it there, or even a little bit higher. Benintendi with very good power to left and left center field to go with his normal power to right field.
1-1. Up high.
Keep
95.
Keep staying up there because he can't lay off and he can't get to it.
.379 in key spots this year for Benintendi.
Here's that hard slider. Let's see if he gets it low and away.
Just tipped foul. It caught a little bit of the outside corner. You'd rather have that lower, right?
Yeah, but that was a good pitch, and also it was 91 miles an hour, so his arm is starting to feel good. He's got confidence now in that slider. I would go back to the high fastball here out of the zone. Worst case scenario, he does take it, and the count goes to 2-2, where you could still set him up with the slider as Kevin Smith with little dust raised by that foul ball. For Carlos, one of the biggest sequences of the ball game. You get out of here with a 2-2 tie. After first and third and nobody out, it's quite a job.
1-2. Swing and a miss, strike three. Rodon is fired up, and rightfully so. 6 strikeouts the last 2 innings. Welcome back, 55. When you wriggle out of a jam, listen in with Carlos Rodon. You know that feeling.
I do, only the slider wasn't quite as hard as that last one. He did just a great job of getting out of that inning. First and third, nobody out. Strikeout looking to Swihart. Strikeout swinging to Bradley and swinging to Benintendi. And out of the inning. 7 strikeouts overall in 4 innings, and the stuff has gotten better as he's rolled along.
Talk about a guy who doesn't like losing. Carlos Rodon is on that list.
I don't think he lost much before he got into Major League Baseball.
No, he did not.
He dominated. Well, he's a big, strong guy who dominated every level he was at.
Daniel Palka takes ball number 1. A walk in the second inning for Daniel, his 6th of his White Sox and Major League career. And Price is behind him again, 2-0. Daniel 1 for 11 so far on the road trip. His playing time has diminished somewhat with Matt Davidson's return. The Sox have 2 guys that they've used as the DH when only one has been available. Now 2-2. Called strike 3 at 93 and 1 away as we take a look at the White Sox Farm Report presented by Guaranteed Rate. And the focus is on one of the 5 All-Stars in the AA Southern League for Birmingham, Zach Collins, who since April 22nd has been a machine. 336 average in his last 42, 8 homers, on base nearly 500. He opened the season at .054 until April 22nd, batting average wise. That's risen to 277 since then. So the last month and a half for Zach Collins has been really otherworldly in Double-A. We're talking about a young man who's been in pro ball now for 2 seasons.
And he's found the magic. See why he's a #1 draft pick. Defensively, he's very good. Offensively, he's strong, and he also has a surprisingly good eye for a young hitter. Hence the on-base percentage. It doesn't come with just swinging the bat. It comes with also taking the walks when they're presented you.
Oh, and 2, Charlie Tilson. White Sox got 2 runs in the first inning. Jose Abreu an RBI double, Kevin Smith an RBI groundout. Red Sox countered with 1 in the first on a couple of errors, and then the Jackie Bradley Jr. homer in the second. But Carlos Rodon has effected a disappearing act the last 2 innings. A leadoff single in the third, then 3 strikeouts. Leadoff 2 singles in the fourth, Devers and Vasquez, and 3 straight strikeouts again.
The last couple of innings have been under duress, however, with leadoff hits in both innings, and Carlos had to reach back and get a little something extra.
1-2 hit to right field. Swihart is on it. Take advantage of the Diamond Suite flash sale and lock in a summer outing today. Get significant savings on a 20-person suite, hats for the whole group, a scoreboard message, a complimentary dessert cart upgrade, and more. For more information, visit whitesox.com/flash sale today. My question is, the dessert cart upgrade.
Yes,
you get like a T-top or what? What happens?
You get the quality turtles. You ever had any of the turtles from the Levy Catering?
Oh, I thought that somebody was going to come in and sing "Happy Together" to you.
No, not those turtles, but edible turtles that are just wonderful.
2 down for Tim Anderson. You always take the upgrade, no matter what. Anytime you're offered an upgrade, you take it.
Yeah, almost.
Right? Almost.
Yeah, there are certain exclusions to that, but for the most part, I would say pretty good.
You're one of those prices and participation may vary kind of guys, is what you're saying.
No, like you're at the dentist's office and they want to upgrade you to the 11 o'clock appointment instead of the 1:20 appointment.
Yeah.
I'll take the 1:20. You can upgrade to the 11.
Ah, get it done faster.
Oh, that's good.
No balls, 2 strikes on Anderson. He was 1 for 2 with a run scored. And Tim goes swinging at strike 3. 1-2-3 for David Price. 4.5 deep. We're level at 2. season so far for Winston-Salem. 26 walks, 69 strikeouts, and a number of White Sox fans in attendance here at Fenway Park, which, you know how much it cost to build when it first went up?
$20.
You're a little under. You're one of those guys, too, that over-exaggerates and makes something not seem as interesting.
I'm a hyperbolist.
Always. So, $650,000 to build Fenway Park. It was worth it, I think.
Well, with the recent changes, yes.
You didn't like it before?
Not so much.
Really?
No. I mean, it's nice to play on.
Yeah.
And there is room for Fenway Franks.
The tunnel is very interesting. The tunnel from the clubhouse to the bench on the third base side to the dugout. It is as thin of a tunnel as you are ever going to find.
They still have alligators in there?
Pretty much. I've heard lots of stories about rats in the tunnel. You can't fit too wide through that tunnel. Can't do it.
That's the charm. If they spent $700,000, you could be able to do that. But for $650, it's a narrow tunnel. That's just the way that works.
That's how much it cost back in 1912. $50K for a wider tunnel.
Sure.
To first base. Abreu sweeps it up. Rodon incomplete.
Wasn't that bad a toss, and I think Carlos just lost sight of it. So going through the middle of the order, this is not a good way to start it. That actually should have been caught, and Carlos then does not want to get run over. I think he felt he should have made that play. That was not a bad toss by Jose.
They're calling it E3.
I don't think that that's the case, but okay.
We should have you arm wrestle with every official scorer.
Well,
winner gets to choose the next 50-50 call.
JD Martinez. An 80-20 call, however.
Martinez, the batter. And he fouls it away. He's gone about a month with the greatest space between home runs being 3 games, JD Martinez.
He can really swing it, and Houston decided to let him go. What they didn't know when they let him go was he had changed his stroke entirely. Detroit became the beneficiary of that particular deal, and he killed it.
Hit well, right center field, and gone.
Two-run homer, 21st, 53rd, and 54th driven in. Took the Red Sox a little bit of time to decide they wanted JD Martinez. They did decide, and Ford home run replay shows you he's very strong to the opposite field. And that unties it.
Rodon got ahead of him, and Martinez still wins the battle.
When you're that big and that strong and can use the whole field, it doesn't take much to turn your day around.
Oh, and 2 on Nunez. So far for Carlos Rodon, 2 earned runs, 2 unearned runs.
I would have to say that this would probably be the last inning, because it hasn't really been coasting. In fact, he has yet to have a 1-2-3 inning. So I would think that Ricky Renteria, Don Cooper would think that this would be enough. We'll have to wait and see how many pitches he uses to get out of this inning, but there's nobody out to this point.
Most of his pitches in this game have come with a runner on.
Yeah, and that's, you know, leadoff walk to Benintendi, then a 2-out home run, a leadoff single in the 3rd, leadoff single in the 4th, and a leadoff error this inning. So you're right, he's been in the stretch this pretty much this entire performance. As a pitcher that was a teammate of mine, the first time I came to the White Sox in 1973, a guy by the name of Stan Bonson, we called him Stanley Struggles because he invariably got runners on every inning. He then shared with us that he was born in the stretch position. So he was a guy that hardly ever had a clean inning.
How do you like that nickname? Or did you not call him
Stanley Struggles?
Yeah, to his face.
No, I mean, he understood that, but he pitched his way out of a lot of jams and spent a long time in the major leagues after coming up with the Yankees.
'83 pitches for Carlos Rodon. A 3-2 is fouled back. So first game back. How do you feel late in the game? What goes first, fatigue-wise?
At this point, nothing, because you have so much adrenaline in you that you're not feeling any fatigue at all. What'll be interesting is the next couple of days and how he feels there. And again, Don Cooper's going to come out. I would think that would necessitate someone up in the pen, but we'll see what they have to decide.
Take a moment for Lowe's whole team together, and it focuses on the Red Sox and Boston's home run hitting this year. 9th in Major League Baseball in 2016. That number dropped significantly in 2017. David Ortiz being gone certainly is a part of that. And then 2nd this year in baseball with 95 home runs. Problem is the Yankees are right there with them, leading the division by a half game with all their power. Saw a great story. Jason Stark is doing these baseball stories on Twitter, and there was evidently a roast for David Ortiz a couple of years ago, and Dustin Pedroia was speaking at the roast as it's a stolen base for Nunez. Pedroia speaking at this roast, and he says that for like 7 years David Ortiz didn't know his first name was Dustin. Pedroia used to get called Pee-wee all the time by Ortiz, and he thought it was just, you know, in jest, whatever, locker room. Then just a couple years ago, somebody comes up to Pedroia and says, "Hey, Dustin," and Ortiz goes, "What did he call you?" Like he was going to fight him. And Pedroia goes, "He called me Dustin." Ortiz goes, "Why did he call you that?" So Pedroia says, "They've announced my name thousands of times while you've been at the field. How could you not hear Dustin Pedroia over the PA?" And Ortiz, in his fun-loving way, just kind of shrugged it off. But for about a decade, he didn't know that Dustin Pedroia was Dustin.
Well, they also called him Petey.
Right.
And they still do that.
Yeah, Ortiz called him Pee-wee for some reason.
David Ortiz. What a force he was, and Minnesota decided he wasn't their type of player. He was some player.
Yeah, that was not a great idea.
Nope. Chris Volstead throwing in the pen. You figured that he would be the man as you want to eat up some innings in the middle.
Travis turned inside. 1-2. Two walks, 7 strikeouts, 6 hits against Rodon so far this afternoon. One, two. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I think a high fastball would end this at bat. Travis has been a strikeout victim twice. Once swinging, once looking.
Wakata was sneaking in behind Nunez. maybe sneaking is the wrong word. Nunez saw him.
Yeah, not much sneak on that. See the oven mitt on the left hand.
Two. Grounded foul. Your 2018 Chicago White Sox are presented by Guaranteed Rate, your trusted teammate throughout the mortgage process. Experience the difference today at rate.com. Two and two. Nunez is off, and it's grounded right side. Abreu to Rodon successfully this time. One away. Nunez to third.
Very aggressively played as Carlos Rodon, concentrating on the hitter so much, he only looked back one time. And Nunez, who stole second, was trying to steal third base. So this time, Rodon takes a look back in, knowing that Nunez was going to be at third. Four stolen bags for Nunez in 5 attempts this year.
They'll run 47 steals for the Red Sox this year, is third most in Major League Baseball, behind just the Sox, the White Sox, and Washington. Up and in, and Devers is dropped. A little over dramatic, but wouldn't you be too?
Well, when it's coming that far inside, you figure you better get out of the way in a hurry, even though that one was not head high, it was shoulder high.
"25 pitches this inning, 94 total for Carlos in the game. Three and 0 on Devers. If ball 4 comes here, you've got to believe that's his last bat.
I would think so. You got Vasquez, the right-hander. Swihart's a switch hitter, and Bradley left-handed, as is Benintendi, but you don't want to extend him that much.
On the ground, Rodon snares it, and now Nunez is caught in between. Rodon with the tag. He's got enough energy right now. He'd run over to first and tag Devers too.
What I liked about that, we've talked about it a lot on a rundown play. You don't want the trailer going into scoring position, and to eliminate that, you run right at the runner and make him decide. In this case, Carlos does it well. He runs right at Nunez and then tags him. So a rundown with no throws and no advancement on the part of Devers. Well done, Carlos Rodon. If you can get away without a throw, that's the thing. And if you can get away freezing the man at first base, that's another thing. Nicely done.
Carlos pretty fast, by the way.
He did the right thing, and a lot of pitchers want to get rid of the ball quickly. You shouldn't. You run right at the hitter.
And with one more pitch, he's going to get the final out of the inning. 2-run homer, JD Martinez. The big damage. Carlos Rodon threw 5 in his first start this year.
AAA affiliate, the Charlotte Knights take on Lehigh Valley. Coverage begins at 7 or when this game ends, and you can stream the game on the NBC Sports app.
Whichever comes first.
That was an ad lib, by the way.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Carlos Rodon, 5 innings, 2 earned runs in his first start of 2018. And on the Charlotte Knights, you're going to see something interesting this evening on NBC Sports Chicago, because the Knights are not actually going to be the Knights tonight. They're going to be dressed as the Charlotte Pitmasters with barbecue on the front of their jersey.
And that would be?
Well, it's just an alternate name. Some minor league teams are doing that this year. But how about Carlos Rodon today with Kevin Smith at his side? Your overall opinion of his first start?
I thought he did very well. This is a tough team, the Red Sox.
Rondon into center field. That's a leadoff single in the 6th. Here's your Sox math winner while we have a brief moment. CWS Bleachers is your victor. 6 innings for Dylan Covey, 32 Trace Thompson, 38 is your answer. There's your Sox math winner. We're assuming that Carlos Rodon is done for the day.
I would think he would be, and when you take a look at the outing, he walked the leadoff hitter, Benintendi, who scored, but that was after 2 errors. So first inning, he did a nice job of getting out without any further damage. Gave up the home run in the 2nd, that's going to happen. Struck out 3 after a leadoff single in the 3rd. Struck out 3 after 2 leadoff singles in the 4th. And then an error opened the door. It would have been 2 earned runs out of the 4 scored. But I looked at the stuff. Forget about the end result because that's irrelevant at this point. It's history. But looking at the stuff early, he didn't have command of the slider early. His fastball was 92, occasionally 93. And the great part about it was that he kept on getting better. The stuff got crisper. The slider was there for him. I think all things considered, when he looks back at this outing, he'll consider it a plus. I know Ricky Renteria and Don Cooper certainly do. And the only thing you wonder, and we won't know until tomorrow or the day after, is how he's going to come out of this. If he comes with natural soreness, then that's fine. And he's the only one to determine that, but he's very big and very strong and got that fastball up to 97 today. Can't ask for much more than that in this, his inaugural start.
Well, you can see where David Price wants to pitch Jose Abreu.
All things considered, he feels much more comfortable inside, but David depends on swings in there. He doesn't throw inside strikes very often.
Two balls and 2 strikes.
That was a cutter, and he has more success with that. But on the fastball, throws inside for strikes just over 52% of the time. That's the 2nd lowest among all qualified starters in the major leagues. League average is almost 63% of the time. So although he likes to go in there, and you have to go in there if you're going to pitch in this ballpark, he doesn't do it particularly well. He depends on the swings. If you don't, it's not going to hit too often.
Right up the middle, hard hit, and it's going to turn into 2. Nunez, Bogarts, and Travis.
Xander Bogaerts comes hopping across the bag, and even though there's a chance to take him out, no chance to get him when he's up in the air. And Jose hit this ball hard, slipped out of the box. Wouldn't have mattered anyway. That had him easily at first base. So after a promising leadoff single, a double play ground ball, and that's the 2nd time Sox have hit into a double play here in this ball game.
Once in the 4th, once here in the 6th. Matt Davidson now 0 for 2. And ball number 1. You're talking about Rodon and how he feels in between starts. If that soreness were to pop up, when would it typically happen?
He's going to have some tomorrow, and he'll have a bit more the 2nd day. And then we'll see. And it probably is going to be hard pressed to figure out what's normal and what's not. But you'd anticipate, look, he had 4 rehab stints. You would anticipate if there was going to be a problem that would have shown up, but the difference is he's extending himself more here at Fenway Park. I mean, you can throw as many minor league outings as you want to, and you do get a certain amount of adrenaline, especially the first time you go out there for a start. It's just nowhere near what happens in the major leagues. You're bearing down, you're extending yourself a whole lot more, and so it'll be important. The next couple of days will be important for him.
The challenge is just greater, better class of hitter, and so you have to give more, right?
Absolutely, and you're just, I mean, it's a normal occurrence that you're going to extend with everything you have on just about each and every pitch. And you come out with so much adrenaline. You saw in the first inning, he couldn't spot much of anything. Although he had a couple of called strikes and a ground out to get out that first inning without further damage.
Three and one for Davidson. David Price, his freshman year at Vanderbilt, very highly thought of program in Nashville. His freshman year, he had thoughts of quitting baseball. It did not go very well, and the head coach there, Tim Corbin, said, look, you're not the guy who's supposed to be flipping burgers, okay? See this through. And it's truly amazing, and for the players out there who have a rough stretch, whenever that might be, there are going to be downturns in baseball. And here's a guy who eventually won the Cy Young Award, 133 victories as a #1 overall pick, that was thinking about hanging him up.
Well, he and his bank account are very happy he didn't, because he signed a very big contract here with Boston, and he's living up to it now.
Ball 4, Davidson takes a walk, and what's really interesting as Davidson goes to first is Matt has said that before earlier this year. He and I were talking on the first episode of the podcast, and he said, yeah, there were points when he was even at AAA. We're talking about David Price as a young guy in college, but even in AAA where Matt thought maybe this isn't for me.
Well, it wasn't easy for him because he came in, really struggled with the breaking ball, struggled defensively, and he stayed right with it. And for him, it's paid dividends because he's got a spot when he's healthy playing most every day.
The guy had 19 walks last year. He had 29 for his career before the season started. And he's got 30 now. Not only has he become an everyday major league player, he's transformed himself while doing so.
Not an easy thing to do when you're known for your power and you're known for swinging the bat. To stay patient and wait to get a good pitch.
In the air, right center field, falling quickly and down. Davidson's on his way to third. It's a base hit for Kevin Smith. He's 2 for 3, and here comes Moncada.
You're right about one thing. Kevin Smith at this point is swinging a magic wand. If he makes contact, it seems to find a place to land safely. Not much on this one, but there doesn't have to be. Over the head of Nunez, in front of Swihart, and a productive day with a run batted in on his only out of the day, and then 2 singles after that.
Kevin Smith 7 for 15 since coming up from AAA, and now Moncada trying to change the look of this game with one swing. Tipped foul by Moncada, the former Red Sox farmhand and player very briefly a couple of years ago. He said after the game last night that while the people in Boston were very good to him, he enjoyed his teammates, he completely feels at home in Chicago, Moncada. That's nothing against the Boston folks, but he feels like he's meshed even better with his new home than his previous one.
He's got Jose Abreu to help him along and help him assimilate into the culture, the city, and Major League Baseball. Red Sox thought a whole lot about him. They paid over $31 million for him, and they went over the luxury tax, paid another $31.5 million in penalties because they felt that Moncada was going to be a star. Vasquez did a nice job of catching that one and easing it back up into the zone, but it was down and it was a ball.
When you spend that much on somebody, you believe that he can be a cornerstone.
Yep. That's exactly right.
As the White Sox believe about Luis Robert, who had a couple of hits again yesterday for Kannapolis, the center fielder, who's on his way back from injury, as Joe Kelly tunes up in the Red Sox bullpen, and the infield visits with David Price.
Kelly has developed an off-speed pitch, a straight change to go with his big fastball. He's always been able to get it up in triple digits, but now that straight change has really helped him, made his fastball look even more effective.
Boston's locals are very big fans of Mr. Kelly right now. They like his stuff even more because of that changeup.
Got a very good arm.
2-2 to Moncada. Davidson at third. Smith at first. 2 down. And he struck him out at 94. 2 left on for the White Sox. 4-2 Boston. One bleacher seat and 2 beers for just $22. You got to be 21 and over with a valid ID. Bleachers and Brews, presented by Budweiser. To get your tickets, visit whitesox.com/brews, BREWS.
A new pitcher in the ball game, and it is Xavier Cedeno. We've seen him one time, and he threw the ball very well. Getting out of the inning. Appearance number 2, bottom part of the order.
See if Don Cooper can do with Xavier Cedeno, who was already pitching well in Charlotte, what he did with Anthony Swarzak, Tommy Kahnle, Dan Jennings, etc., etc. You think at the trade deadline somebody might want a talented lefty reliever?
I think there's going to be a lot of teams at the trade deadline wanting anybody that can put them over the top. And left-handers out of the pen are at a premium. The Sox have had a pretty good left-handed contingent this year. Aaron Bummer threw it very well, and that was rapid dispatch. Swihart goes down.
Bummer had an outing last night in AAA with Charlotte, who you'll see on our airwaves in a couple of hours. He came in. He was the first one in after Michael Kopech last night, who struck out 10. And Bummer struck out the side.
His stuff was very good up here. The only question is location of that sinker. When he got it near the zone, it was a devastating pitch. And he will be a pretty good pensman before it's over.
Yeah, you got to figure his demotion is more temporary than anything.
There's no doubt he pitched well enough to be here, but it was a numbers game and somebody had to go. He was the guy, but he'll be back and he'll be contributing out of the pen.
Baseball is a really interesting game because Jace Fry and Aaron Bummer were very close, very good friends. And Fry comes up, he does so well for himself and so well for the White Sox, and then suddenly when a lefty needs to go out of the bullpen, it's one of his really close friends that ends up getting sent out. It's a tough thing.
Well, it is a cold game, and for instance, knowing that Carlos Rodon was going to be activated for the game today and knowing there was going to be a move, everybody in the bullpen is sitting there wondering who it was going to be because it had to be one of those guys. And the guy happened to be Chris Beck, who was designated for assignment so that Rodon could get back on the roster and active for today's game. And that happens all the time. If you're not one of the mainstays, then you worry about each and every move. And nobody has to tell you when someone has to go. So everybody's on pins and needles to see what the move is going to be. And in this case, it was Chris Beck.
And it's the manager's job and the pitching coach's job to try and take their minds off of that very thing and say, just go out and pitch and do what you do. It's not human to do that.
But when you sign on, when you're wearing that uniform in the major leagues, you realize that it is, after all, a business. And it doesn't matter the friends you make or sometimes even how you're throwing the baseball. But sometimes you can throw it pretty well, as Aaron Bummer was, and find yourself in the middle of a numbers crunch and have to go down.
Three and two on Jackie Bradley Jr. And he swings through a pitch at 81. Cedeno back-to-back strikeouts as we quiz Steve on his career here at Fenway Park. Let's see what Sticks and Stone has in store this lovely afternoon. Who was the Red Sox starter in your first start in this venerable ballpark?
Wow. I honestly haven't the foggiest. I was supposed to be a teammate of John Curtis at one point in the Cape Cod League, and then he was drafted #1 by the Red Sox, and he decided to sign. Can't blame him. They gave him $100,000, which was a lot of money at the time. So I'll say him.
John Curtis.
No, I'll say Louis Tiant.
Okay, you've picked two
No,
of the
I'll
three
say
answers.
Bill Lee. I'll stick with Louis Tiant. Or maybe John Curtis.
You would have been kicked out of the soundstage on most game shows after the second answer swap.
Okay, I will go with Louis Tiant.
Okay. 1 and 2 on Benintendi. Cedeno looks pretty good.
He looks very good. And he's got some deception because he throws straight over the top. So he's not exactly coming at an angle, but he has chosen the extreme first base side of the pitching rubber to deliver the ball. That type Benintendi looked like he was going to get hit with that one.
2 and 2. I don't know what Steve's answer was, but yeah, you don't win.
Bill Lee.
Bill Lee, the spaceman.
How about that?
Downstairs, 3 and 2. Bill Lee famously said about Fenway Park and the Green Monster, do they leave it there during the game? When he was told that there was a green monster. There's a breaking ball for strike 3, and Xavier Cedeno strikes out the side in the 6th. 4-2 Red Sox. The Sox take on the A's. All fans are in attendance. They're welcome to stick around after the game and watch the movie as it plays on the center field video board. WhiteSox.com/promos to get your tickets.
We get a new pitcher in the ball game. It is Joe Kelly, who's having a good run at 3-0. His ERA 2.96 on for the 28th time. Has been called on to save a couple of games, and he's been successful twice. Brock Holt takes over in right field, so Swihart's day is done. Kelly's got a big fastball. 28 strikeouts in just over 27 innings would indicate that. And with the straight change, he's become doubly tough.
Strike one to Trace Thompson, who turned around a 99.5-mile-an-hour fastball from Chris Sale for the game-winning hit yesterday. And that was the hardest hit, well, the hardest thrown pitch for a hit that the Sox have had so far this year. So Trace, who's seen a lot of fastballs, did a number on a pretty good one yesterday. Here are the fastest pitches resulting in a hit. Trace, number one, breaking Nicky's number, and then Engel and Rondon from yesterday. Oh, and 2. And that's fouled away. Chris Sale, you could tell that he was a little extra excited for yesterday's game, whether it be that he'd lost a couple or the White Sox were in town, or both. For the first time since 2010, he hit 100 twice in an outing.
Well, he was throwing it real well, and under normal circumstances, he wins that game. But Dylan Covey was magnificent and actually outpitched him.
One down. Dylan Covey last night basically said, I belong in this rotation, which he's been doing, but this was sterling.
That was a big strikeout. 2 on, nobody out in the first inning. Gets Xander Bogaerts, then goes 6+, no runs on just 3 hits with 1 walk and 7 strikeouts. Everything was moving last night, and he was in command and controlled the entire way. Very impressive outing, and had to be because Chris Sale only gave up the 1 run.
Daniel Polka takes ball 1.
I want to send out condolences. We have not addressed it at this point, but Red Shandies, the Hall of Famer of St. Louis Cardinals and a few other teams later in his career, passed away at the age of 95. Wonderful man. Had occasion to deal with him on many different occasions. He was a great manager, a terrific player. And he said something in his Hall of Fame induction in 1989, which I think we ought to address, and that is, he said in the speech, all he ever wanted to be was in the lineup every day and become a champion. Baseball has been my only job, and I still get a thrill putting on that uniform and hear the words, play ball. And
Beautiful
for all of us,
sentiment.
yeah, for all of us who've been associated with this game for many years, I think Red encapsulated what we all think. It's an honor. It's not a right to play Major League Baseball, and if you treat the game right, pretty much the game will treat you right. And for Red, he spent a great deal of time wearing that uniform, and he wore it well.
An Illinois native. He was in the lineup enough to lead the league twice in at-bats.
Hit over 340 one year and just missed out on the batting title. Lost to Carl Furillo of Brooklyn.
Breaking ball from Kelly, 2 down.
Well, as the advanced scouting reports are getting around on Daniel Polka, he's seeing a lot more breaking balls, and when he does see a fastball, more times than not, he's seeing it up and out of the zone. You can't really go up there and look slider from Joe Kelly because he just throws too hard. If you look slider, you're not going to hit it very well anyway, and you can't possibly catch up with a fastball.
Ball 1 to Charlie Tilson. Got way inside on him, and Joe Kelly with a clean inning. 1-2-3 as it's stretch time at Fenway Park with the home team up 2.
Up the series at Fenway. Coverage begins at 11:30 with White Sox pregame live. You can also stream the game on the NBC Sports app. And we've got a new pitcher in the ball game. It is Chris Volstead after a very impressive inning by Xavier Cedeno. 1 inning, he struck out 3. Volstead on for the 20th time. He's 1-3. His ERA a touch over 4. He's got to hold him right there if the Sox are going to have any chance in this one, because looming in the bullpen is the big right-handed Kimbrel. He might be the green monster.
He is he's a bearded monster.
Nobody hits him very well.
Bogarts, Martinez, and Nunez. Tough part of the order for Volstad. 1 inning for Xavier Cedeno, 3 strikeouts. And after that first batter walk in his time, now 2 games deep with the White Sox, he has thrown 6 outs, a couple of ground balls, 3 strikeouts.
He swung at it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, indeed.
James Hoy with the call.
Too far.
One and 2 on Bogarts, who's reached twice on an error in the game and singled as well. Two balls, 2 strikes on Bogarts, who hit .412 in very short action the first couple of months, and then just .220 in May. Two and 2. Foul back toward us.
Matt Barnes, he of the slow working Barneses. Loosing into pen. He also has a very big arm, however.
What's the family crest?
A turtle.
Two and 2. That's foul off of Bogarts.
Barnes' ERA at 2.03. It's a good bullpen. Greg Kimball's ERA at 2.08. .35 strikeouts and 26 2/3 for Matt Barnes. And there is The beard of Craig Kimbrell.
Thought it was Chris Kamka. Can't see the face. Inside, and Xander gets dropped. 3-2.
This game very close to getting him.
Left side, Tim on the backhand. For out number 1. There's a very proud papa in the Sox dugout today. Alan Thomas, whose son Alec Thomas was drafted by the Arizona Diamondbacks in the 2nd round of the Major League Draft last week. And Alec, as of this morning, don't know if the ink is dry yet, Alec was on a plane to go to Arizona and sign with the Diamondbacks. And a very happy dad, the strength and conditioning coach for the White Sox.
That's quite a day.
Yeah.
They obviously have agreed to whatever number the Diamondbacks threw out there. And Alec, you would assume as a high school player, even in the 2nd round, would probably get over slot because he's a 2-sport player and could have easily gone to college, wanted to play pro ball, but hopefully things work out very well for him. Alan's a very nice man.
Line drive to left, base hit for J.D. Martinez. And the cool thing too, I mean, the Diamondbacks are an organization. They've got a first place team right now in the National League West. But as you talk about the path that Alec might take, the low A team in the Midwest League for Arizona in the minors is in Kane County. So there's a chance that Alec could be at home for a while, depending on what the path looks like.
And I talked with Matt Davidson about the Diamondback organization. That's where he started, and he said they were very good to him. He really enjoyed playing there, so it is a good organization, and Alec will do very well. Left-hand hitter with great speed. There's a look at the man that started with the Diamondbacks, only to find a place to play here in Chicago.
One thing I hadn't thought about until talking to Alan about growing up as a baseball player nowadays, Alec is, just turning 19. So you got a kid who is very young, but he's played on this high school circuit and the travel teams and the showcases and all this stuff. So getting on a plane by himself is not new. I mean, it's just a different era when it comes to young people growing in the game of baseball. Oh, 1. When did you get on your first plane?
I got on my first plane when I was out of high school.
Really?
I never was on a plane in high school, and my catcher in college was Thurman Munson, and his team was in a national tournament in Battle Creek, Michigan, and invited me up there. And so it was one of those planes that the Red Baron used to fly in.
Oh,
those
yeah,
things,
the light plane.
The biplane. It was great. Is actually a propeller jobby.
Oof.
And it flew to Battle Creek, and that was it. That was my first flight, and my mother came with me. Make sure I didn't jump off the plane or something else untoward happened.
How'd you do?
Well, I would have done a lot better had I not get picked off second base on a bunt play. The guy bunted through it, and I got picked off second. I want to dig a hole right there.
Moncada with the tag and the throw, and that is a double play. Scored 4-3. Nunez wraps into it, and we'll go to the 8th. Steve will take a train there. off the baseball. That's the message of today's jaunt around MLB. Tip ball drill. Lorenzo Cain sweeps it up, and Bismarck leads Eau Claire 3-0.
That's quite a play. Saves Arcia an error. Bounces off the glove, and Cain right there.
Big day for Wisconsin Rapids, up 10-1. Those scores still in progress. Matt Albers is very happy. Lorenzo Cain would like a quarter or something. And Matt Barnes, a new pitcher.
For the 27th time, the ERA a touch over 2, 35 strikeouts, and 26 2/3. Right-handers have done nothing with him. Left-handers have not hit him very well either. He's only allowed 1 home run. So even though he does go about it slowly, he goes about it very well. And this is a very good Boston bullpen. I had a chance to talk to Dave Dombrowski before the game, and he talked about his team needs, because I asked him as he get closer to the trading deadline, does he see this team making a deal?
Devers at third. One down. Yolmer Sanchez has grabbed a bat. He's going to pinch hit for Rondon.
What Dave said was that his team is so good, and there's Dave hiding behind the pole because we're trying to get a shot of him. Very shy man. But he said when everybody gets healthy on this team, they're going to get Pomerantz back. They're going to get Thornburg back. And he said they're pretty solid all the way around. He can't really see at this point having to make a deal, but he said, look, it's still the beginning of June. You never know what's going to happen. You don't know who's going to get injured, who's not, who will be available, who won't be. I don't think he's going to trade a whole lot of young players for what he needs. And I talked to him about contract status. And he said, you don't think about controllable contracts when you make your trades at the deadline. Those are one addition to a team that can put you over the top. But he did say one thing that was telling, and that is, he said, when you look at the postseason, you realize it's going to be us and the Yankees. You know that whoever wins the division gets to play a 3 of 5. The other team has to play a 1 and done. And he said there is a premium on winning the division, and he has to feel comfortable that his team can do it down the stretch, or he's never been shy of making a deal. They will make a trade. He just doesn't see it at this point.
Well, you as a big Fangraph supporter, you were reading a story earlier today on there about that wild card probability and how much you lose by being in the wild card game.
If you can get the championship, and you see the Yankees with a half-game lead over Boston at this point coming into today, your probabilities are anywhere from 5% or greater.
In the air, center field. Bradley back at the wall. It's off the garage door or thereabouts. Yolmer is booking it for third, and he is there. Nobody at third other than Yolmer Sanchez. Triple number 7.
Yolmer's leading the world in triples at this point, and no chance at all for Bradley. If he hits a cutoff man, there is a chance as Yolmer. Another 3-base hit. He gets a fastball and drills it. It just barely stays in the park. This is out of most parks, but not this one with a high wall in center field. Bradley comes on and guns it across, but it's way off the mark. Nick Capra, the closest to the throw at third base, and there's no doubt they're not going to throw to him, as Yolmer. He cuts the bases very well and makes it into third easily.
So the Red Sox are going to play the infield back in the middle and at third as well. Travis is halfway in at first. And there's strike 1 to Abreu. This is fish in a barrel for Jose typically.
Just make some contact and drive home his second run of the game, his 38th of the year, and a ground ball in the middle infield. Alex Cora feels he'll give up that run. He's got a guy at the end who doesn't give up much. So he just wants to make sure there's a better angle on a ground ball and keep the potential tying run off base.
0-1. Lined hard but foul. 0-2. Okay, so knowing Abreu wants to make contact here and has the middle infield available, what's your pitch?
He's probably going after a strikeout. So 1 of 2 pitches, either that high fastball out of the zone or his hard slider. You see Vasquez looking at the feet of Jose to see if he's creeping closer to the plate. It looks like perhaps an inside fastball up.
It is up. He checks his swing, and it's strike 3. The plate umpire made the call. 2 down.
He was going after a strikeout all the way, and he wanted to stay out of the zone. He wanted to keep it up and out of the zone, and he got it there. Jose tries to check it up and gets rung up.
Jose said, "You did it?"
Can't believe the call.
Well, he thought for sure it was going to be the first base umpire, Hoy, if anybody. The 2 down for Davidson. Tying run at the plate. Barnes.
Just to get back briefly to playoff probability. If you win the division, it's upwards of 10, maybe 12% greater chance of getting into the World Series. You don't win the division, you're in that one and done game, and then it's a crapshoot. Then you run into one hot starter and you're done. The point they made was, let's say that Houston doesn't win it and you're facing Justin Verlander in a one and done game. Your odds of exiting that brief playoff are pretty substantial.
You're going to feel like Yolmer's pants look if you have to face Verlander in a wild card game. Two balls and a strike on Davidson. Three and one. Kevin Smith is next.
I'd like to keep this alive for Kevin because every time his bat touches the ball, it finds a soft spot to land. And it's usually a safe spot to land.
Three balls and a strike. Barnes to Davidson. He goes away from the fastball and walks him. So runners at the corners. He didn't want to give in to the power potential. And Kevin Smith, the batter. Sox fans, join us as the White Sox take on the Indians Thursday, June 14th, 1:10 p.m. And the first 10,000 fans get a free commemorative blackout game T-shirt presented by the Village of Bedford Park. Bring your business home to Bedford Park and win big. Get your tickets today by visiting whitesox.com or by calling 866-SOX-GAME. So runners at the corners, 2 down. And Kevin Smith, the batter, in a 2-run game.
Kevin with an opportunity to get it very interesting. Ricky looking over at his lineup card. Dana Levangie out to have a quick word with Barnes. Now that's broken up, so runners at the corners, a chance to make it very uncomfortable for the Red Sox.
Smith in the air, right field. Brock Holt for out number 3. 2 stranded, bottom 8 coming next. Red Sox still lead by 2. Xfinity X1 customers can say, "Show me the Chicago White Sox" into your X1 voice remote and get live team stats on your TV. Change the way you experience TV with Xfinity X1. And it's so powerful of a system that if you say, "Show me Steve Stone," Steve will be in your home within 15 seconds. Don't use that feature too often.
Assuming you have hamburgers and hot dogs. Chris Volstead has got to hold him right there.
Sam Travis takes ball one. I know for visiting teams it can get a little grating, but the Sweet Caroline they do in the 8th inning in this ballpark is one of the special things in baseball at this point.
It is that.
This is quite the nuanced ballpark, Fenway Park. This date in 1946. So 72 years ago now, Ted Williams, who hit a home run famously in his last at bat. This day in 46, he hit a home run 502 feet, which they commemorate with seat 21 up there way, way back in right field.
That is way back. When nobody's around, it looks like you'd have to shoot it out of a cannon.
Two and two was talking about it with a couple of Sox players, and they all said there's no way he hit a ball up there.
Live ball era.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And what is this right now?
This is a livelier ball era.
Aha. Up the middle, Moncada's there. One gone. Career OPS of 1100. I mean, the guy was just insane.
Well, they called him the Splendid Splitter when he came up because he was very tall and very thin. As the years went along, he got a whole lot stronger and a whole lot heavier. But he could swing it, and it's not necessarily the strength you bring. It's the velocity in which you can take it through the strike zone. And he was always a dead pull hitter, so Chris Volstead doing a nice job will depart. And Luis Avilan will trot in and we'll trot out. We'll be back after these messages.
MLB All-Star Ballot is now open and exclusively online. Make sure your favorite White Sox are represented on this year's team by voting at whitesox.com/vote. All the excitement of the 89th MLB All-Star Game presented by MasterCard July 17th live on Fox.
Luis Avilan comes in and we will give you his banking preference after this.
What a tease.
Time now for the Lakeside Bank call to the pen. Lakeside Bank, it's about time. It's about time. Luis comes into this one. Needing 2 outs to hold it right there against Craig Kimbrell, no doubt.
With that tagline, you always sound so excited for the specific reliever. You've been waiting all day.
I have, and there is no doubt.
You finally got your wish.
I like this as much as Camping World.
The Steve Stone sponsorship generator working very well today. Popped up third base side. Yolmer is checked into the game, and he's on the case for out number 2.
In the meantime, the bullpen over the last 2 games has been untouchable. There's a look at the man who normally is untouchable. When you take a look at some of the ERAs that he's had to finish seasons, you just have to shake your head. Because when right, and he's right most of the time, nobody hits him.
Batting average against this year of 165. That's 15 hits in 26 innings.
He's completed major league seasons with a .44 ERA, 101, 121, 161, 143 last year. It's just remarkable how good he's been and how consistent he's been. Last year, appearing in 67 games, he was 5-0 with a 143 ERA. 126 strikeouts in 69 innings. You just can't do much better than that.
So Avilan starts Vasquez off with a 68-mile-an-hour curveball, then goes 90 on the fastball on the corner.
Last night, it was 3 relievers, Fry, Jones, and Soria. This afternoon, it's been 3 relievers and nothing been given up to this point.
Right side and down.
That's 2 hits for Vasquez. He almost lost his starting spot. They were thinking for a while that Sandy Leon would supplant him as a starting catcher, but he's very good defensively, and they believe that he's going to start to hit. And the 2 hits today certainly will bring a smile to the face of Alex Cora, because when he's in there, they're a better defensive club.
Same with Brock Holt, who has a batting average over 300. Came in for the right fielder Blake Swihart. First at bat today for Holt. White Sox in the 9th will have Moncada, Thompson, and Polka to face very likely Craig Kimbrell, depending on the result of this bottom 8. One and 2 on Holt from Avilan.
Holt didn't like that call very much, but it had a part of the plate.
That one did not. As the wave goes on, Vasquez to second.
I think his heel might have caught on the hill because he kind of stumbled off the hill awkwardly. That'll be the first wild pitch of the year. This is his 28th game. He just slips and throws the ball away.
The wave in a 4-2 lead with a team that has the second best record in baseball. 2-2. Check swing. He might have. He did. Holtz wiped away. We'll go to the ninth. Moncada leads it off after this. Season long, the day after the Sox win, you get 50% off your entire online order of regular menu priced items only at papajohns.com when you use promo code SOXWIN, valid at participating Papa John's locations. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. That's quite the menacing entry, huh?
Well, it's not Hell's Bells like Trevor Hoffman had in San Diego, but it's close as Craig Kimbrell, who does throw fire, comes on for the 28th time. 19 for 21 in saves, 2.08 ERA, 36 strikeouts in 26 innings, and right-handers don't do much with him. So Moncada will turn around and hit from the left side, and Mitch Moreland comes on to play first base. Sam Travis is done for the day.
Moncada career is 1 for 2 against Kimbrell. He's seen 9 pitches against Craig Kimbrell. 8 have been fastballs. Only once has he seen the curveball. This first one is away from the fastball, a strike.
It was a good slider down, and Kimbrell, who came over from Atlanta. This man was drafted in the 33rd round and didn't sign, and then the Braves thought so much of him they drafted him in the 3rd round a couple of years later. Actually 1 year later.
Breaking ball, strike 2. So Moncada, who's seen so many fastballs from Kimbrell, has none through 2 pitches.
Kimbrell has more saves career-wise than he's given up hits, which is absolutely remarkable.
That's just brilliance out of the bullpen. There's the first fastball. It registers at 98.
He came over for 4 players in 2015, and what a deal that was for Boston.
Runs it up at 98 again.
Manuel Margot, Javier Guerra, Carlos Aswaji, and Logan Allen all going the Atlanta way. And Kimbrell has been a mainstay in the pen for the Red Sox.
Out of Wallace State Community College. And where's Wallace, you ask? The answer is Huntsville, Alabama. 2-2 on Moncada. White Sox had a great chance in the 8th. A 1-out triple for Yolmer Sanchez. He was marooned at 3rd. Now 2-2 on Moncada. in the air left field. Benintendi coming on. Benintendi is there to make the play with a smile on his face and a roar from the crowd.
This is the only place where that play would have been made, because with that green monster, the left fielders are taught to play much more shallow. So he's in shallow in left field, and this is a sinking little looper. He comes on, makes a great play out of it. He's gotten better and better defensively. But with this ballpark and the green monster behind you, you can afford to play much more shallow here than any place in baseball, and it caused the out as Kimbrel is ecstatic.
Instead of a runner on, nobody out, it's one out, nobody on, and Trace Thompson the batter. Breaking ball, strike one. Remember, Trace Thompson turned around a 99.5-mile-an-hour fastball from Chris Sale yesterday to drive in the lone run of the opening game of this series. That is absolutely demonic for strike two.
Well, when you know a guy's got 98, 99 in his pocket and you see a couple of sliders, you're not going to sit on it. You just take it and hope it's out of the zone, and it wasn't either time.
'98 to the edge. Two down.
Big difference between 98 from a right-hander and 98 or 9 from a left-hander, and that one just unhittable after two sliders.
Chris Sale, an interested observer, after throwing very well last night but falling 1-0. Polka nearly got an elbow full of 99.
I'd like to see Daniel get a hold of one fastball, see what the exit velocity is, if he can square it up.
Breaking ball at 87, 1-1. Kevin Smith, Matt Davidson, back-to-back in the order, have been on base 4 times in the game. Smith drove in a run, but not enough so far. On 1-1, Polka takes up and out. Charlie Tilson on deck, then Anderson to follow if it gets that far. Two and one.
That's impossible to hit because it looks like a fastball when it leaves his hand, and that one just disappeared low and in.
Up they come in unison. Kimbrel, the conductor. 2-2 in the dirt.
Charlie Tilson waiting if Polka can keep it alive.
First time Craig Kimbrel has seen Daniel Polka. 3-2. He got him on the fringe, strike 3. Boston holds on to split the first 2 in the series.
Boston bullpen just a little too tough. It was their winning combination of pen. Kelly, Barnes, and Kimbrel. They got it done. 3 innings and not much going on. 1 hit against Barnes. That was it. Kimbrel, you